morning, League fans. My name's Steve Mascord. Thanks for joining us. This week, coming to you from the City of Angels, Los Angeles. And we had a pretty interesting weekend of rugby league, didn't we? In the UK, we had that heartbreaking loss for the Leonard Broncos, hitting the woodwork twice and almost off the bottom of the table. And then, obviously, in the NRL, we had Trent Robinson having a shot at Elliot Whitehead. We've got a really good guest coming up after the break to talk about rugby league here in California. This fellow was involved in the very first the State of Origin game, 1987, that was played at Long Beach. And he's still trying to help get the American dream off the ground. He advises the NRL on some of their dealings in this country. So we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll spend the rest of the hour talking about our game in the land of hope and glory. And welcome back to Good Morning League fans. As promised, Aussie expat living here in Los Angeles, and I want to apologise to him and the listeners. My hotel has a pool party. It's Labor Day here as we're recording this, Labor Day long weekend, and there's a pool party just outside my window with a lot of hip-hop playing. I apologise. But anyway, as I said, a fellow who actually just told me before we started recording that he was involved in the 1987 State of Origin at Long Beach. Ray Simmons, welcome to the show, Ray.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. So when I sort of put the feelers out when I was passing through Nashville and then here in Los Angeles, obviously we've got a show to produce, and I wanted to speak to some people who are involved in rugby league here. It has been a tangled web over the years, hasn't it? California and rugby league. Can you just maybe? Well, firstly, fill the listeners in a little bit about your background, where you're from back in Oz and how you came to come to Los Angeles and your involvement in rugby league.
Well, I was born in Canterbury Hospital, so I lived right on the border between Canterbury and St George. So I used to spend a lot of time going to the games, and a lot of my buddies played lower grades for the clubs. Actually, I have a bit of history because my uncle played for Newtown when they beat North Sydney, and he marked Frank Hyde in the centres. So a little bit of history involved with the family there. But I was in Europe. I was watching the Kangaroos in '78, and lo and behold, I met a girl and ended up in California. I've been here for many years. I've always played. I didn't have much choice. I had to play rugby union, rugby league whenever I could, and have helped out in any way. But it is a bit of a tangled mess over here of the confusion of one game to the other. And I've just tried to help the NRL in, whatever method I could over the years.
Right, so Ray, is there a body? I mean, we had the California Rugby League for a while there. It appears to have disappeared. So is there actually, I know, and also obviously we've had the drama recently with the guys from Denver seceding from the USARL just in the last few weeks. So is there actually a sort of governing body, as it were, running rugby league in California as we speak now?
Well, there are some groups trying to do it. And, I know some of the guys involved, but I've always stayed away from that and the politics, I've done that on purpose. But I know there are some guys trying to get it going here, and there's a good chance that they could, so I'll wait and see on that.
Right. We're back with Ray Simmons, who's involved in rugby league in the States. He's been involved in rugby league in California since the State of Origin in 1987 at Long Beach. Ray, tell us a little bit about the NRLs. You said you've had a relationship with Graeme Annesley that goes back a long way. Tell us a little bit about the NRL's aspirations here and what impact you thought Las Vegas had in 2024.
Well, I think viewing it from Australia or even the north of England, it was really a success. It created a bit of a blip in Las Vegas, but that was it. Unfortunately, America is a huge market, and it's going to be a minor sport at best. And you have to be realistic about where we are. And there's even a little bit of kickback from the rugby union guys who don't understand the game that we play. And there's a little bit of prejudice. So we're up against that as well. There is a big Islander community over here, and they embrace the game. They love rugby league. And a lot of those guys have to play rugby union because there's no league to speak of. So there are groups here. And the MMA community is also a group that would love the game of rugby league. So we definitely have an audience here. It just has to be marketed and has to be exposed. Sadly, the game that they played here, it was advertised as rugby union from Texas and not rugby league from Las Vegas. So a lot of my friends who wanted to see the game, either they said they looked it up and it wasn't the game, nor did their machine tape it because it was posted as the wrong game. So I don't know if you know how the tape machines here work, but that's what happens sometimes. You know, if you put in, say, The Sopranos, it tapes all the Sopranos shows, but if you put in the wrong show, it's not going to tape. And that costs them a lot of audience in America, just that simple little mistake.
We're back with Ray Simmons, who's involved in rugby league here in California, an expat Aussie, as you can hear, with his accent. Now, you would have seen you would go back as far as Mike Mayer. You would have seen all of the different iterations of American rugby league, the Tomahawks, the USARL, that fellow who was in Cool Runnings, the commentator from Cool Runnings was involved at one point. So can you give us a kind of Reader's Digest account of all those years, those 4 decades? And has there been a moment where you thought the breakthrough was imminent, that something was really going to happen?
It's always been a sputtering at best. You get a lot of people who want to own the game, and I get a little bit suspicious of those guys. But I've got to say, what they did recently with Vegas was they finally got it right. Vegas was the perfect place. They did a good promotion of what they did. It's just they had a couple of things go against them. I don't know if you know, the weather out there was pretty brutal.
I was there. Yeah, I went.
Yeah, and that was tough. And a few little things, but I do think they're actually on the right path. And this really could be something.
We're back with Ray Simmons. We're talking American rugby league. Ray, a lot of people, there seems to be an argument that now, you know, the US has been locked out of the World Cup. The number of teams has been decreased. That is bad for the game, and that representing your country is a huge carrot for people. Then other people believe, well, if you're going to fill the team with kind of heritage players, then it doesn't really do the game in this country any good at all. From your perspective as a man on the ground, what's the answer to that question? Is it important that the US can play in the World Cup, or is developing the sport here a separate thing, and it's not that important?
You definitely have to grow the game here and grassroots level, and the American guys will come on board. And I have seen in my time guys who would have been fantastic for the game. All the guys who don't make the NFL here, wow, there are some athletes here that you just imagine how good they would be in our game. I had a couple of running backs who I thought would have been fantastic centres or second rowers in the game, and the opportunity just wasn't there for them. But I think they're on the right path. I really think this could happen.
And what about, we're back with Ray Simmons talking American Rugby League. What about that politics? You said a minute ago that you think the NRL is on the right track, but we've seen, as I said, with what's happened with Salt Lake City recently, that it's very hard to get everyone working together under one roof. And the NRL, I mean, to what extent do they just disregard the people on the ground here, and to what extent do they have to kind of I don't want to use the word pander, but to what extent do they need to get the permission to do things, or should they even try to get permission? What is the right approach in dealing with that kind of political minefield that we have in American Rugby League?
They definitely need a network of guys to work with here. I get a little bit nervous when I see them selling rights to people. Because as we found out many years ago, that can turn against you at the most inopportune time, you know. So I would be very careful. But I think there are enough guys here who can sort of help. And I think that it really does have opportunity. And I think it's finally got legs too. I think, you know, they've got another 4 years of playing here. I think it could evolve.
Yep. We're talking American Rugby League with Ray Simmons. Ray, tell us a little bit about you. You know, you said you're not aligned with any of the different groups that are involved in the sport right now. So tell us, you know, a little bit about what your involvement is and how you were involved in Vegas and what your ongoing kind of involvement is.
Well, like I said, it goes back to the bit of a story here. When they were playing the original game back in '87, I mentioned to one of the guys, I said, just out of interest, have you talked to the cameraman? And he said, what do you mean? I said, my guess is they don't even have a clue what rugby league is. And I got a phone call about 15 minutes later from a frantic guy who said they thought they were going to an indoor stadium. They have no clue what the game is. So I was connected to the Huntington Beach Rugby boys, and I was able to come up with 20 guys. And what we did, we played a game of touch football for the cameras just prior to the game. And that way they had a little bit of, the cameraman could get a feel for the game.
Wow.
And that's how I started my connection to Graeme Annesley and the guys. They realised that, you know, we're there to help them. Over the years, I've got a little bit involved with radio and TV, and I'm currently trying to work with the NRL and Fox to develop a show that incorporates all the contact games together. That's rugby union, rugby league, American football, both college and pro. And I think that would give the game the right exposure to sort of grow not only rugby league, but also grow the NFL overseas in the markets they're trying to get to.
Right, and we're back with Ray Simmons talking about rugby league in America. He told us before that little break about a TV project he's working on. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, Ray? Like, what are the players going to try out for contracts in this show? Is it like a reality show?
No. This show is purely film clips to show people what it's, you know, a good run is a good run, whether that's Mal Meninga, Earl Campbell, Walter Payton, whoever it is, running down the field, or a big hit, or a game that has a turning point. And it's just similarities between the games. So guys who don't particularly like soccer, which is quite a lot in America, they can watch this game and appreciate the context that we enjoy so much.
I think you did mention this to me before. It does ring a bell. How far along are you in getting this show produced?
Well, right now I'm sort of caught in the middle of trying to work with the NRL, with Fox, and with American AFL, NFL, to be coachy, with the American NFL. So it's sort of complicated, and that comes down to rights over video footage, which can be quite expensive, which, you know, that was a bit of a hiccup for us initially. But that's where we're at right now.
I said we're back with Ray Simmons. We're talking about rugby league in America, and he told us about a TV project he's working on, incorporating NFL, NRL, maybe some rugby union as well. What would the format be? Would it be the host going, check out this run, check out this hit? Would that be the format?
That would be part of it, and we would also tour like going to Alabama to look at their training schedule and what it's like to go to a college football game. But then with that said, what it's like to go to an NRL game or a game in England or France, you know, just the differences and the characters involved with the game. Yep.
And so when do you think we can expect to see this on our TV screens, Ray?
I wish I could give you a date. It's right now I'm sort of dealing with the nuts and bolts of getting this to happen. Yeah. So, I wish I could be more positive about that, but it's when you're dealing at that level, it gets a bit complicated.
Welcome back. Final part of our interview with Ray Simmons, an Aussie expat living in California who's been working over many years to try and get rugby league going in the United States. Ray, what do you think can be achieved by the Las Vegas venture? And obviously now Wigan and Warrington are joining the party as well, along with the women's game.
what does success look like at the end of the 5 years from your perspective?
I would like to think people realise there is opportunity for guys who want to play the game. Well, I'm talking about in the US, and that would open up players going to Australia, England, and other countries. But also, I think for people outside to come to Vegas, it really is a unique experience, and it's just fun. I mean, I had to laugh because I was talking to the police there, and they said, we can't believe these people who are built like the size of a house come here, they're drinking all day and all night, and we haven't had any trouble. Everyone gets along, everyone's laughing. Yeah. And for the police here, I mean, if you're a security at a Raiders game, it can be rather challenging to say at least. Yeah. But they were just pleasantly surprised, the crowd. And I think I met people from all over the planet when that Vegas thing was on. And everyone got along, and I was just shocked. A lot of people from the north of England here. Yes. And they were just great fun to be with.
And, I guess the challenge, with 4 games next year, everyone's going to be challenged a bit more, aren't they? There's going to be more drinking. It's going to be more expensive, but it's probably going to be more fun as well. Thanks very much for joining us, Ray, and congratulations on all your work here and for putting, I'm sure, your own time in at your own expense over many years to try and help rugby league achieve that great American dream.
Thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure to talk to you.